A brand new Pokemon family is coming to Pokemon Go, and the way that you get this new Pokemon is actually quite unique. With the upcoming Sweet Discoveries event, Niantic is going to be giving us a new Pokemon family for us to catch, and we're also going to be seeing some new mechanics as well as some new bonuses that are definitely going to change things up. I'm going to be talking about all of this in today's video. Let's get right into it. Alright, what's happening everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. Hope your day is going really well. Let's get right into it. So we are getting a new event in Pokemon Go, and it's going to be very different from the events that we typically get. They're going to be introducing a new Pokemon family, which in and of itself is already quite exciting, but it's actually going to be Applin, which is a Pokemon that a lot of players have been widely anticipating. And also, the way that you get this Pokemon is going to be very different from what we're used to. So what exactly are the new mechanics? Well, I'll get more into that later. Let's first talk about the Sweet Discoveries event, and then afterwards, I'll be talking about how you could pick yourself up the new Pokemon Applin. The Sweet Discoveries event is going to be happening on April 24th at 10 o'clock a.m. local time, and it's going to go until April 29th at 8 o'clock p.m. local time. This event is going to be featuring a brand new Pokemon into Pokemon Go, and it is none other than Applin. It also has different forms of evolution, and it's all going to depend on what versions of the candy that you get. We'll get more into that later. Now, during this event, there's going to be a couple of event bonuses that are actually quite unique and something you should definitely pay attention to. You're going to get double the amount of candy when you catch Pokemon. Catching Delibird and Squirtle, which are actually going to be event wild spawns, will actually give you berries, and then you'll have an increased chance of encountering shinies for both Delibird and Squirtle. And then, when you hatch Pokemon, you're going to have an increased chance to get Shiny Delibird, Shiny Cherubi, and Shiny Squirtle, and you're also going to have an increased chance to encounter apples under Mossy Lure modules. I'll explain more about that later. And this is a bonus we haven't seen in a while, but if you use the Pokemon Go egg hatching widget on your phone, you're going to have a half egg hatch distance for the first 3 eggs that you hatch through this method. But next, let's talk about Applin, which is the brand new Pokemon that's going to be making its debut during this event. In order to evolve Applin, you're going to need 200 Applin candies, which is very similar to evolving Magikarp into Gyarados. That's something you do need to keep in mind. But it does actually evolve into 2 different forms, either Flapple or Appleton, and in order to get either of these forms, you're going to need a new item called apples. These apples are going to be spawning in the game world. That's basically how you can get them. Now, also spawning in 7km eggs during this event, you're going to get Delibird, Cherubi, Munchlax, and Squirtle, and Delibird, Cherubi, and Squirtle are going to have a boosted shiny chance. And next up, let's talk about the wild encounters. So during this event, you're going to encounter Alolan Rattata, Abra, Bellsprout, Delibird, Gulpin, Bidoof, Munna, Bounsweet, and Squirtle. And then, as an uncommon spawn, you're going to see Snorlax, Shuckle, Komala, as well as the new Pokemon Applin. But in order to get Applin, you're going to need to tap on apples, which are going to appear in the game world. And some of those apples will actually be Applin as spawns. Now, let's talk about the new mechanic, which is actually something that Niantic teased recently with the April Fool's Day event. So, there's going to be these apples that are going to be spawning on the ground. They're going to be either tart apples, which are basically apples that are slightly green and slightly red, and then there's going to be sweet apples, which are entirely red. These are all going to appear in the game world, and when you tap on them, you're either going to collect the apple itself, or you're going to have an encounter with the new Pokemon Applin. Now, in order to get players accustomed to this new mechanic, Niantic is going to be giving every single player a free timed research, which is going to award you with 1 Mossy Lure module, 1 Tart Apple, 1 Sweet Apple, as well as encounters with event-themed Pokemon. And there's also going to be a paid timed research, which is going to award you with 2 additional Mossy Lure modules, as well as event-themed Pokemon encounters like Delibird, Squirtle, Applin, and more. Considering that Delibird and Squirtle are going to have a boosted shiny chance, this could be a great way for you to get high IVs of either of these shinies. Alright, so now let's talk about how you can get the new Pokemon Applin, and also the correct candies for the specific forms that it evolves into. So the way it's going to work, it's going to be very similar to the April Fool's Day mini event that we had earlier this year. There's going to be a whole bunch of items spawning in the game world. If you recall from the April Fool's Day event, basically they had a whole bunch of Pokeballs in the game world, and if you tapped on them, you would either pick up a Pokeball of some sort, or you would get a Pokemon encounter. And basically it was a roll of the dice. Even though there was a whole bunch of Pokeballs spawning on the ground, you really did not know what you would get. And if you're someone who lives in a rural area, it was actually a great way for you to stock up on Pokeballs, Great Balls, and Ultra Balls. But the real emphasis of it was the excitement of it, the mystery of it, because when you click on those Pokeballs, you could get yourself an item that's actually quite useful, or you would have a Pokemon encounter, and all of those Pokemon were ball themed. So it definitely made sense, and I thought it was definitely very unique and had a lot of potential. But looks like this is going to be the first major test case of this new mechanic, because there's going to be a whole bunch of apples spawning in the game world. This time, they're going to be in the wild, or they're going to be under mossy lures. And when you tap on them, you're either going to get either of the different candies for Applin, or you're going to get an Applin encounter. Pretty cool stuff, in my opinion. I think this is definitely unique. It's definitely going to be something that's going to make Pokemon Go feel quite different. I do think that this is going to be the start of something new. Whether it be Niantic or Scopely, in the future, I do predict that this is something that they're going to explore much further. And yeah, I think this is all great. I think for Niantic to try out different things with in-game events, it's definitely something that is most welcome, because when it comes to in-game events, they all tend to run the same. And every time they try something different, it definitely freshens things up. And this time around, it's going to be something that doesn't require you to spend money, which I'm totally okay with, because just imagine if the only way you can get Applin is through raid battles or hatching eggs. But instead, they're going to have it in a unique game mechanic that actually encourages you to go out and explore, but also for you to get something out of this game without having to spend money. That's something that is quite rare recently, and I'm totally in favor of it. So yeah, chalk it up for what it's worth. This is looking to be a very exciting event, and that's on top of us getting increased shiny chances for both Delibird and Squirtle. I think that alone is also really exciting, and the fact that when you catch them, you're going to get yourself berries. That's definitely quite unique, and if you're someone who is looking to stock up on berries, that's going to give you a whole bunch of berries, like every time you catch Delibirds and Squirtle. And do keep in mind that when it comes to Delibird, it's one of those Pokemon that gives you bonus Stardust. So yeah, it's a huge win all around. I really like this event, and personally, I feel like it's a step in the right direction, and hopefully Niantic will cater their in-game events in a very similar fashion to this one. So yeah, in any case, that's just my thoughts and opinions regarding this Sweet Discoveries event and everything that Niantic is doing, but I'm sure there's going to be people out there who are just going to be disappointed for one reason or another. If that happens to be you, I would love to know your thoughts, so if you are feeling disappointed by this event, definitely share your reasons why for feeling that in the comments section down below, and hopefully we can have a great discussion. And with that said, that's going to be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end. If you ended up enjoying this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget the notification bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. Real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Content channel, the absolute best way you could do that is always going to be by joining my Patreon. And if you become a paid Patreon member, I'm going to add you to my Pokemon Go friends list. So that means for stuff like remote raids, the friendship system, opening and sending gifts, different things like that. If you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. I reserve pretty much all of my friends list specifically for my patrons, so do not miss out on that. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, you're always welcome to do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms that you see on the bottom of your screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow. And that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, and love yourself today, and I'll catch you all later.